Welcome to Back on the Broomstick,
a modern witch's spoken word grimoire,
where two witchy friends from way back are reconnecting to their pagan roots after a long period of mundanity.
We're rewalking the path of the wise and trying out all the latest spells, rituals, and magical theory in today's witchcraft and pagan practices.
So grab your wand and your incense,
your cauldron and your crystals,
and join us
as we get
back on the broomstick.
Hi, and welcome to Back on the Broomstick. On this episode, we'll be talking about Yule folklore, Christmas cryptids, and a couple of candle rituals to help you get in the solstice spirit. I'm Layla.
And I'm Chelle, and can I start off by saying I love every holiday, every notch of that wheel that involves a cryptid.
Christmas cryptids are some of my favorites. And if you haven't listened to our Yule episode from last year, I highly recommend you check out the Yule folklore episode because we do talk about quite a few of them.
You need to know about that Yule cat. You need to know about the Yule cat, okay?
And if you're not wearing those new socks your Nana got you for Christmas,
you're getting eaten.
That's right.
You're just getting eaten.
Nobody likes that. So if you want to hear more about Christmas cryptids, check out our episodes from Yule last year, episodes 41 and 42. We talk about Yule, the winter solstice, cryptids, and so much more. I'll put a link in the description of the show, and hopefully those will help you get into the solstice mood.
And I'm already in the solstice mood, and I love talking about Yule stuff and stuff to kind of lighten the dark mood.
Oh, I love how you said lighten, because candles are one of my absolute favorite things for this time of year. And I have two candle ceremonies to tell you about later in the episode.
Now, we want to touch on some things that we know we've talked about in past episodes, but who doesn't love Krampus?
When this episode airs, we will have just had Krampus knocked, which is Krampus night. And I love that creepy non-capitalist dude who runs around with the big long tongue and the birch switch.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Right? Seriously. That sounds like a date. I'm there.
Well, you know.
Anyway, so Krampus is kind of like the devil of Christmas. He's from Austrian and Bavarian folklore. He looks kind of like a half goat, half monster, goat feet and the big horns, big long tongue. And what he does is he goes around on December 5th, and if you've been bad, Krampus will whip you with his stick, or sometimes he'll toss you in his basket and take you down to hell.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Right?
I've been seeing all over, like, people are starting to go all out. I thought in the last 3 or 4 years it was really ramping up. But I feel like this year people are embracing Krampus like nobody's business. And I love it, to be honest with you. Who doesn't love the big horned guy in the Santa coat?
But I think part of his appeal is he's kind of like the anti-hero of Christmas. We talked a little bit about it last year where Santa Claus is a little too sweet.
I love that description. The anti-hero Santa Claus, like that, like nails it.
He's the one that when Santa Claus is so sweet and sugary and giving everybody everything and capitalism this and buy me that, Krampus is out here just saying, be good, or I'm going to smack you with my switch.
It's, what? I think we've reached a time in society where we're looking a little more for realism and not some fantasy bullshit, because we kind of been in a fantasy world for a while. And not that I am a Santa Claus lover. Do not get me wrong. But I think this year I'm feeling like I want a little more realism, and Krampus is it. Be a good person or get your ass whooped, bottom line.
And it can't always be about sugar plum dreams and overflowing wrapped presents. We don't always get that. That's not how it is, except in the movies. So I think Krampus, like you said, brings in that dose of realism. And, he's the yang to Santa Claus's yin, I guess. You got to have balance in all things, and Krampus really brings that.
Him and Santa are like the yin and yang.
And I think he's becoming very popular because of that, because Christmas has gotten a little too sugary sweet. It's gotten a little too capitalistic. And so here comes Krampus to help us, I guess, get back to our roots, get back to folklore.
It keeps us in check. Honestly, it keeps us in check.
Yeah.
Do you have any Krampus lore that we didn't go over last year? Because I've heard of Krampus being called the Christmas devil. Not that I know what a Christmas devil is, but I've heard that Krampus would be kind of that, like, quote unquote monster whispering in the shadows to children. I don't know. I feel like he's almost the same as Christmas, because wouldn't he put potatoes in their boots if they were bad?
The kids would put out their boots or their socks, I guess, on Krampus night. And if they were good, they'd get sweets. And if they were bad, they'd get a potato or a stick.
Can I just say, now that I'm a parent and now that I've had children and have had to be in the adult world, I wouldn't really shun a potato. I'm just
I
saying.
mean, crunchy potatoes are definitely a good thing. Who doesn't love a good potato for real? Actually, the potato kind of highlights why I think Krampus is so popular now. And I think we're all looking for a return to simpler times. I mean, Christmas has really become way over commercialized. And in my family, we're really trying to push back against that a little bit. Like we're trying to not buying new things this year. And so we're doing a couple natural gifts, like a handmade gift, one secondhand, and one from a small business, and just try to keep it very simple and very small.
You are a better person than I.
No, I'm a broke person. That's what it is. I'm a broke
And
person.
I know we've talked about this on Yule episodes of the past. I kind of do this mixture of Yule Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's a reality for a lot of witches.
It's the way I am. I love trees. I love ornaments. I will decorate like an obsessive fiend, okay? I just love presents under the tree. And, it's not about the money spent, but I am big on get people what they want because I'd rather get you what you want than waste money on something you don't want.
Absolutely. It's all about not being wasteful, right? While still honoring the giving part of the season. And I think because Christmas and Yule are so similar, there's so many shared traditions that they borrowed, stole, shared, whatever you want to say with each other. Like my family has never been very Christian. I mean, we have Christians in the family, but Christmas itself has always been pretty secular. It's mostly about family and the return of the light and giving and being together. So it was very, very easy for me and to marry those, to kind of do a Yule solstice Yule Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. Solstice Yule Christmas.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's what we do for sure.
Now, I did a little more digging than I've usually done, and the similarities are uncanny
They
to
really
Yule and
are.
Christmas. The deeper you dig, the more uncanny it gets. Now, if you just do a quick search, you're gonna find where it tells you that Yule originated in Germany or the German part of Europe back then, which I believe encompassed part of Scandinavia, Poland, but that region. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll actually find that Yule is got Norse origins, which I never knew until recently, believe it or not. And on Yule, and for that period of time, Odin is kind of the quote unquote Santa figure. So I found this picture actually super cool of Odin riding through the sky and what the Norse called the wild hunt. And I can talk about that in a second. And so Odin goes into the sky on this wild hunt on this eight-legged horse. And in the picture, a long beard, like dude looked like Santa Claus. Very reminiscent of what we think.
Odin does kind of look like Santa Claus on a bender.
That did a lot of weightlifting.
Yeah, like a buff Santa on a bender. There you go.
Right, right. And he liked horses and not reindeer. The only difference. I don't know. So what the wild hunt basically symbolizes is kind of chasing the dead to the underworld, almost like letting them realize, okay, it's time to move on.
Similar to the wild hunt of the Fae and the Tuatha Dé Danann in Celtic and Irish
Basically, it's
folklore.
exactly the same thing
Okay.
because if you read about that, it talks about, how different societies had their own version, and this is just the
Okay.
Norse version.
Gotta love folk tales because they change from town to town. Even just over
Right.
the next hill, it might be a little different.
Now the Celts were thinking it was Odin, they had their own deity
Right.
symbol, but whatever. And I think that's where sometimes some of these ghost stories come into play. Like we've talked in previous Yule episodes about in Victorian era, they would do like the scary stories, the ghost
Yeah,
stories,
it was traditional.
because they looked at this time of year. I think in modern times we look at Samhain is really kind of that time to commune with the dead. Yule is very similar, but it's also the time where, okay, now you've communed, move on. So in the origins are basically Odin moving them on.
I see. Okay. That's kind of cool. This might be another good time this time of year if you are working with ancestors or with beloved dead. This might be a good time of year to symbolically let them go or to write them a
Absolutely.
letter to say goodbye. This might be a very good time of year to try to work through some of that.
And also, I'm glad you kind of said it that way because this was looked at as a joyous time. I don't want to call it like a final farewell, but kinda. I mean, obviously, I know you and I believe that, you can call upon your ancestors and, my grandpa comes and visits on the regular, but it's like that formal letting go.
Right, like saying goodbye to this relationship and maybe hello to a new type of relationship.
Right,
Making
right,
space
right.
for that.
But then over time, that's kind of a downer a little bit. And then it got kind of transformed into focusing more on we have now reached the darkest time and we are moving into greater light, more light, the light half of the year. And then, the Oak King and the Holly King story that, we've
Right.
talked about in the past. So it did originate with Odin in this wild hunt, but it's kind of, even though it's kind of transformed throughout the centuries, it's kind of got that same sentiment. And I think that we might not realize it, but we do think about our dead at Yule time. Who doesn't?
Sure, people that have gone before that you miss, that you wish were there. Sure, yeah.
You get together with family. There are some of us, I have certain family members, obviously not all, that I only see at this time of year, at Christmas time, at Yule time. And you kind of reminisce about who you've lost over the year. Remember when grandma used to do Christmas Eve? Those kind of stories tend to come up. I think we do it subconsciously and we don't realize that we're kind of really keeping those traditions.
That's another really good reason why maybe having the candles or candlelight ceremonies can be really helpful this time of year because it's dark, it's gloomy, we're thinking about our dead. Maybe somebody just told us a ghost story and now we're depressed and scared. So,
Right.
maybe we have seasonal affective disorder, which is, can be a big problem this time of year. Maybe our family is crappy, I don't know, but candles can really help to lift a mood, to set a mood, to do an easy, simple spell. We've had a couple episodes where we talked about very simple candle magic because they're so magical in and of themselves.
And, I also think that candles play an important role this time of year. Here's me going off on a tangent, folks. We all tend to be a little more happy and peppy in the summer. Who wouldn't be? And this time of year, it's cold. You don't want to go out. It's shitty and it's dark all the time. And people are more prone, you talk about seasonal depression, like that's a thing, man. And
Yeah.
people are more prone to just be in a funk this time of year. And sometimes just lighting a candle is a reminder, literally, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's reflected in the natural world with the days getting shorter and the nights getting longer. And that's also a cycle that we see within ourselves as well. We start to go within and we do more things internally, because the weather is so crappy here in the northern hemisphere here in the United States.
Right, but it's not just literally, though.
Right.
Sometimes that candle gives you the figurative light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that it marries perfectly with this time of year. And there is a ceremony that I've started hearing about more and more in the last couple years, but I guess it kind of started around 2017-ish.
Now you started telling me about this. What the heck is this? Because I'm looking for a new tradition. Speak to me, woman.
This one is called Sunwait, and I love the name. It's very cool. And it originated in Sweden, and it's kind of it's a mashup between a lot of different
Wait, are you talking WEIGHT or WAIT?
WAIT, like waiting
Okay,
for the sun.
okay. I just wanted to clarify.
And it's the idea of lighting candles every week, starting 6 weeks before the winter solstice. And you light them on Thursday, Thor's Day, one a week. Each candle represents the first 6 runes of the Elder Futhark.
This sounds like a drawn out version of Hanukkah candles.
Pretty much, yes, it's very similar. And it's kind of similar to my family's candles, but I'll get into the differences a little later.
Wait a minute. How many weeks do you do this?
For Sunwait, it's 6 weeks. It
Okay.
starts this year, it would have started November 14th.
Shit, I missed it.
Well, you can still do it. You can catch up, no problem. You can start now. And you would light each candle on a Thursday. The idea is that for the last 6 weeks of the darkest part of the year, as the days are getting shorter and darker, the idea is that for these last 6 weeks, you're lighting a candle every week to help to keep the light in your life, to help to bring the sun back.
Now, I kind of beat to my own drum. Does this have to be on Thursdays?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Actually, our favorite heathen, Irene Glass, she does hers on Sunday, I believe, or
Love
maybe it's
her.
Monday. Love her so much. But yeah, people will do them on Sunday because this does celebrate Sunna, the goddess of the sun, because the Norse are some of the few people that have a sun goddess and a moon god,
Funny how we're going circling back to the Norse.
right? So some people will do it on Sunday to honor Sunna. So you can do it any day, but Thor's Day is quote unquote traditional on this very new tradition. So the runes that you use, and again, these can be different because, again, our favorite heathen uses slightly different runes. But traditionally, it's Fehu for the first, and that's for abundance, safety, and shelter. And then Uruz, which is the second week, and that's for resilience, stability, and determination. And then third week is Thurisaz or Gibo. And Gibo is the gift giving rune, and that's for harmonious relationships. Let's see, the fourth is Ansuz, then Radu, and then Kinaz. So, and they each have different
Can you
meanings.
seriously post that online? Because me and the people aren't going to remember this.
I will absolutely post that on our website. We'll try to post a shortened version on our socials. But yeah, it's called Sunwait. And it's very cool. It's very pretty. You can see people with their Sunwait candles online.
Now, I like to, again, beat to my own drum. If I'm using the same sentiment week by week, could I use my own sigils instead of runes? Well, yeah, I could, but
Yes, you
I'm
could.
asking, but I would do it anyway.
While I was researching Sunway, I did see a couple different versions, including a Wiccan or witches version where they did the elements, air, fire,
Ooh,
water, earth,
I
and
like that.
then God and Goddess.
I
So
like that.
yeah, so you could do your own sigils, you could do something different. You could do it 5 weeks, 4 weeks, however you want to do it. The idea is to light the first candle, and then the second week you'll light the first and second, third week, first, second, third, so that your candle light is growing as the dark is growing. So that's called Sunway.
I like that.
Isn't that nice? And that's a heathen tradition. And it's very beautiful, but it's very modern, which I love.
New doesn't make it less effective.
That's right.
I love them.
Isn't that great?
Now, I am going to jump to, I saw a post today from one of our lovely listeners, and I apologize that I can't remember who posted it, but it was someone lovely. 'Tis the season for simmer pots, friends. You know darn well that's my go-to this time of year.
Smells so good.
It smells good, but it's multi-purposed. I've drank them actually. I've strained them out and drank them
Yeah,
before.
depending on what you put in there, if you put all food safe ingredients.
Right. I have used it just to make my house smell good, and I've used it kind of in spell form. But it's an easy kind of throw things in, I don't know, 'tis the season to have the stove on all the time. I don't know, I just like doing it this time of year. It's my thing.
We do have a discussion group on Facebook called Back on the Broomstick Podcast Discussion Group. It is Fan Ren. And we are not too far away from 1,000 members, and it is all witchy, wonderful people. And it is run by the wonderful, the amazing, the very magical Helen Jojo. And we
We
adore
love
her.
her.
She's awesome. But everyone there is so witchy and cool. And the person Shell is talking about is Heather, who posted a gorgeous looking simmer pot. It has apples, it has cinnamon, it has cranberries, looks like cloves and bay. Oh, she's written some spell work on her bay and cinnamon sticks. Oh my gosh, it just looks fantastic. That is a lovely way, like Shell said, to get that scent permeating through your house. And if, like Heather, you put it in there with some intentions written on your bay leaves, as that smell permeates through your whole house, it carries that spell, that energy through your whole home. And that's a beautiful way to basically infuse your house with a spell.
Another thing I like to do, and this is also multi-purposed, the phrase spring cleaning.
Hmm.
I do a pre-Yule cleaning. Yeah, because I need the house clean because the holidays are coming,
And
people are
people are
coming.
coming.
But it is a good time. I feel like a lot of heaviness comes with Samhain. Maybe it's a me thing. And it's kind of like you're not just dusting away the dust, but you're dusting away kind of the old energy. Samhain is the witch's new year. January 1st is the modern world new year.
Oh, talk about a liminal space between Witch's New Year and modern calendar New Year. That's a pretty magical space. What could you do with that time?
It's time to clean, people. I do a deep clean this time and in spring, so I kind of have that pre-winter because maybe it's because I know I'm going to be hunkered down and we're
Yeah.
all inbound and I don't know, but it's just something that's kind of this time of year. And you know how I clean. Everything has intent and purpose. And
Yeah.
it's when I redo all my altars, I clean off all of my statues and all of my trinkets and, all of my altary stuff. It's just a good time for that. It's almost like when the light comes back, it's shining on cleanness.
Ooh, I like that image. There you go. That's pretty good. I could use some light.
Deity don't like dirt, people.
There you go. If that's what it takes to get me to clean off my altar, then that's what it takes.
But it's also time when I make my I guess you call it witchy crafts. I will make incense in bulk this time of year. Sometimes because I give them as gifts. I will make oils in bulk this time of year again because sometimes I'm giving them as gifts. So I will be creating magical things. And again, it's because it's cold and I don't want to leave the house and it's a good time to get shit done.
Yep, the same thing. This is the time of year I get super crafty and start doing all sorts of things indoors because I can't get out. It is snowy and cold and terrible. And I don't know if you have, but I have started The Year of the Dark Goddess by Lara Vesta. That book, we reviewed it on a solarium, and I've actually started the work this past dark moon, and I'm pretty excited about it.
I have not started it yet. I am actually, I'm doing a little side project with my local coven, and I have been knee deep in coven stuff
Oh, well, that's a terrible thing.
that has prevented me from starting the book and that journey. But that is on my list of things to do once I get a couple more things off my plate.
I think myself and a few thousand of our listeners would wish we had that problem. But in the very beginning, one of the first things you're supposed to do is a meditation. There's a journey to the underworld. And I
I
know
hate
you hate
that.
that. I know you do. So I had planned on recording it to make it easier for you. And I think I saw a couple of our listeners in our discussion group were having a little bit of trouble with the meditation. So I think I've decided I'm going to record it because I was going to record it for myself anyways, so that I could just listen to me and do the guided meditation that way. So I think I'm going to record it and release it out just to people in our podcast discussion group. So,
Now, folks, let me just say, once you hear Layla's voice giving you a meditation, you will never listen to another voice
aw,
again.
thank you. You're so
Listen, you'll know what I'm talking about.
sweet. Well, I was always the meditation go-to person back in our old community and in our coven, and it's something I think I'm good at. So
You are very good at.
thank you. So yes, I'm going to do that. But this is the time of year, like you were saying, to go inward. To do your crafts, to do your journaling. To kind of get into that, or to start the year of the dark goddess if you want to.
And I say this for every holiday. It's like a broken record. I don't know why you're not expecting this one. Again, good time to do divination. Is there a time that's not good for divination?
Let me think. No, 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 there is no bad time.
Exactly. But I guess with every, tick of the wheel, every notch of the wheel, you're kind of hitting a new segment. And I think that every time you hit that new segment, that new notch in the wheel is a good time to be like, all right, where am I at? You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, it's a great time to self-reflect. I love it. Perfect.
Get out your cards, pull your cards, pull one card, pull three cards. And then even if you have to take 3 days to figure out that card, do it. But again, 'tis the season for divination. I say pulling cards. Do whatever you want. Use a pendulum, but 'tis the season. And I just wanted, I don't know why I thought of this, but a lot of listeners lately have been asking on the discussion group and on our page about where to get decks. Okay, this is my obsessive deck tip. Buy local if you can. If you can't buy local, try to buy from a shop via the internet that is a locally owned small business that happens to ship worldwide. And when all else fails, Amazon is not a bad option.
My two favorite places to get decks are Facebook Marketplace, because I have found so many amazing secondhand decks that way. It's been wonderful. And the other place I like to go is Kickstarter, because you can find some really cool, absolutely phenomenal decks out there that you won't find anywhere else. So I highly recommend funding somebody on Kickstarter whose deck you fall in love with, and you
My
will.
only issue with Facebook Marketplace is it's location dependent. Like with me being here in Salem, no one's selling tarot on Facebook
Right.
Marketplace. So
True.
you know what I'm
Again,
saying?
I'm guessing that's a problem that myself and a few thousand of our listeners wish we had.
All these places in Salem, they ship worldwide, folks. Just ask me a store, I'll tell you where to buy them.
There you go. All right.
Back to Yule.
So, another candle ritual that I'd like to talk about is one that I have talked about before on the podcast. It is my family's personal ritual. And this is one that I came up with when my children were very small, because they went to public school and they came home saying, "Why don't we celebrate Christmas? Who's Santa Claus?" And I needed something to, I wanted them to celebrate Yule and the solstice too. I wanted them to have fun with that tradition. And while we had a Christmas tree and we had presents on the 25th, we really didn't make a big deal about it. And the children wanted to. So, anyway, I came up with this idea to bridge the two holidays. And it's something that my kids, now that they're almost grown, absolutely love and is one of their favorite parts of Christmas. It's very easy. You take 4 candles, you start on Yule, and you turn out all the lights in your house. And we'll say something like a poem or a story or just something short about the solstice being the darkest night, the shortest day, and that we're looking forward to the return of the sun. And we light a gold candle in honor of that. And that represents the sun and rebirth. The next night, December 22nd, we light the gold candle, and then we light a silver candle for the moon. The third night, December 23rd, we light the gold candle, the silver candle, and we light a red candle to stand for the goddess or for the creative life force. The next night, December 24th, Christmas Eve, we light all the other candles and a green candle to represent the god or nature's bounty, the changing seasons, however you want to look at that energy. So we'll do that to go from the solstice to Christmas Eve, and that helps to bridge the two holidays. And it also represents the growing light and the strengthening sun.
I love that. And I love your kids. Not that
Thank
I don't
you.
love you and your husband, but I love your kids more.
We all love you too. And it's definitely a fun tradition that we have, and we look forward to it. Does not have a cool name like Sunwait. I tried to throw a couple ideas at my kids, like Soul Rising or,
Burning Light, that would be a good one.
oh, there you go. I was trying to do something like Sunwait. I wanted it to be cool.
If anybody has a good idea for Layla's tradition and has a good name for it, let
There
us
you go.
know.
Let us know. I was actually told no, that those ideas were dumb and we're supposed to leave it nameless. So I don't
That
know.
sounds like a mid to older teenage answer.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me revert back to I love your kids.
But if you do have an idea, please email it to us back on the broomstick at gmail.com.
But don't feel bad if your life and your situation and yada 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 makes it difficult to unmerge Christmas and Yule.
Yeah.
Because, my kids grew up in a two-parent household with 4 grandparents household. So they had to go see 4 grandparents, their mother and their father. Like Christmas was like a travel time. And we just kind of had to jumble all that shit together. And sometimes Yule was celebrated on December 25th. That's okay. That is okay. The world isn't ending. And sometimes we would just make it one big holiday. And we just didn't have the time, honestly, with 2 parents and 4 grandparents to visit. Like it just sometimes you have to compact that shit into one
Yeah.
thing. And that's kind of how my kids were kind of brought up, that we're celebrating Christmas and Yule and just not the Jesus stuff. But when you get to grandma's, that's where you celebrate the Jesus stuff. You know what I mean?
And that's the beauty of this time of years, is the winter solstice is the celestial event of the longest night and the shortest day. And that's on or about the 21st. But Yule, the celebration of Yule, that can be all of December if you want.
Actually, some cultures make it the whole month of December and part of
Yeah,
January.
exactly. So celebrate Yule whenever you want to. And if you'd like to either be under the radar or still celebrate Christmas, just lean really hard into the natural side of Christmas. Look for those older versions of Saint Nick and use all natural elements to decorate your home. The pine boughs and the,
Cinnamon sticks wrapped in bows.
oh my gosh, the dried orange slices and cranberry stuff
Mistletoe.
is everywhere
Yep.
nowadays. Mistletoe, all of it. Just lean hard into that really natural side of Christmas.
Get a real tree.
Get a real tree. Hey, get a real tree, get a secondhand fake tree, whatever you want to do. Get 25 trees like Shell if you want to.
Hey, I think the most I ever had was like what, 16, and that
Oh,
included my
my bad.
bathroom tree. And
Oh,
yes,
and
I
the
had a tree
bathroom
in my bathroom.
bathroom tree. Yeah, yeah. Bathroom. 16 and a bathroom tree. Okay. I love it.
Hey,
I love
other
it.
people do it. Other people do it.
I'm sure there's at least one other person that does.
And you got to admit, my house was banging. It looked
Gorgeous.
sweet. It looked like Christmas and Yule puked in every room of my house.
Yep, exactly. Your house looked like an army of gingerbread men, and the entire workshop of Santa Claus elves had some sort of rager. It was perfect.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Yule cat briefly.
Oh, I gotta love the Yule cat. I still can't pronounce his name.
I can't pronounce my name half the time, okay? We'll just call him the Yule cat. So just as a reminder, make sure you get your kids a new outfit or the Yule cat will eat them.
That's right. The Yule cat gives no shits. Whether you're good, whether you're bad, all he cares about is you're wearing brand new clothes on Christmas morning. So get yourself
Or you're getting
something
eaten.
new, or you get eaten. Yeah. Be bad all year long, but wear something fashionable and fabulous and brand new on Christmas morning, and you're golden with the Yule cat. I love it.
So whether you like the Yule cat and want to get eaten or not, Krampus, Polish tongue, or Santa in his rosy cheeks, or whatever it is you like about the holidays, celebrate Yule, be healthy, and remember, there is a light at the tunnel. Did you get any of that?
Some of it.
You'll get through it, folks. My internet connection won't get through it, though.
So thank you so much for listening to Back on the Broomstick. We hope you enjoy your December, whatever holiday you're celebrating this month. There are so many, and we love them all. If you would like to, please leave us a review, some stars, send us a message, send us an email, check out our website, our YouTube, our Blue Sky account.
Send us a Yule card.
We do have a P.O. box. The information is in the description of the episode. We'll also be posting that on our socials. Also, this is the first month we will be sending an exclusive episode to our benefactors, the people who help donate to keep the show on the air. And in this episode, we have done divinations for 2 of our benefactors in this special episode. So we'll be releasing that soon to them. So thank you all so much for keeping the show on the air.
Thank you all.
So we hope you have a wonderful month, and we will see you next week. Keep it witchy.